Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Inuyashiki Episode 4. So, fun little note. It is currently 7:52 p.m. Normally I wouldn't record this late, but I think my dad's doing plasma tonight, so I think I'm good. But here's the deal. Funny enough. So, at 3 o'clock, like just before 3, I went up to 7-Eleven to get a drink. Right? Okay, seems normal. I get to 7-Eleven, and apparently right before I got there, the power went out. And so it's like their machines weren't working or anything. And it's like, oh, that sucks. So I got a drink from the cooler, because since it just went out, everything was still cool and everything. So I got a drink from the cooler, grabbed a snack, and came back home. And I'm thinking, and they noted while I was there, is like someone asked, oh, is the power out across the street? And they're like, no, it's just here. And it's like that made me think about something on my way home. Last time that kind of thing happened, the power went out here as well. Because my house is on the same block and connected to the same electrical system as the 7-Eleven. So when I got home, I found out, yup, the power's out here too. Basically right around 3 o'clock is when it went out. And it didn't come back on until 7, 4 hours later. That's insane. That is insane. But that was still like 50 minutes ago. So it's like, okay, wouldn't I have gotten to this earlier? Like right when it came back on? Well, the cable and internet didn't come back on until 7:40. So 40 minutes after the power came back on. And at that point, I still had to download the episode. Here's the thing. When I was going up to 7-Eleven at about 3 o'clock, I was planning on going up to 7-Eleven, coming back, and then while I was enjoying my drink and snack and all, I was going to download the episode and then start recording right after. I was planning on recording right then, and it's like, that's just when the power goes out. That's insane. So, for 4 hours, I basically just laid around doing nothing. If I'm being completely honest, because there's not really anything for me to do. I mean, all the books I have, I've pretty much already read, and I'm just not really too excited to read again at the moment. I like to take a bit of a time break before reading books again, so at the moment it's not like on my to-do list, and it wouldn't entertain me, basically. And there's really nowhere I could go at the moment, so basically, I just laid down and took a nap. Which, I mean, isn't necessarily a bad thing. Taking naps is important and healthy for the body. I mean, why not, right? Took a little nap and woke up a little before 7, and then at 7 it came back on. And it's stayed on since, and yeah. Hopefully my dad will not arrive like when I'm in the middle of recording, whether it's the reaction or the afterthoughts. Normally when he's doing plasma, he doesn't get back home until like 8:30 to 9, maybe even a little after 9. So I should be good. But if he does come in during it at some point, I do apologize, and I just hope he doesn't start trouble and start like yelling or being annoying or whatnot, like he tends to do. Let's be honest. The dishes are done. Everything's fine around here, so hopefully it'll be fine. Hopefully. Even if he does. But hopefully he won't. So yeah, I'm excited for this next episode of Inuyashiki. The first episode focused on hope. The hope of a man who is down on his luck, getting a second chance at life, and getting to be a hero. The second episode focused on danger. The danger of another person gaining these powers and using them for evil purposes. The danger of someone who didn't hold the same kind of moral standpoints that our hero Inuyashiki does. Ironically enough, this bad guy is named Hiro. Hiro. And I want to believe that was on purpose. Um, this show was clearly a superhero show. I mean, even the theme is called Hero. So it's just like, I do believe that that was on purpose. I believe they... In Hero, don't get me wrong, is a standard Japanese name. They even used it in Big Hero 6 for the main character of that. It's a very standard Japanese name, so it's not like it's out of the ordinary to choose that name. It's just, I do think that they chose it on purpose. I do think that they understood what they were doing with that, the irony behind it. The third episode, though, had a balance of both the hope and the danger. It showed both sides of it, and even showed them come together. So, I really love what this series is doing with that balance, with showing the good and evil of this power. How the power alone is neutral, but it can be used in ways that are good or evil. And don't get me wrong, this power, like, they're weapons. It's a legitimate alien's weapon system. Like, that is what it is. But weapons can be used for good. Yes, weapons to a degree are made to kill or hurt people, especially guns and the like. I won't deny that. I mean, I'm all about gun control. I am fully on the side of gun control. But you have to acknowledge that there are good things that can be done with guns. I mean, guns have helped people hunt in order to gain food for their families and others. Guns have legitimately been able to protect people, even just the presence of them. But they can be used for evil too, very much so, and the evil can be so horrible. And that's what this is showing. It's showing both sides of it. It's showing that, yes, there can be good done with it, but the evil cannot be discounted. The evil cannot be ignored. And I think that's a good thing. I actually think that's a good thing for gun control, too. Because it's showing that there is good. Again, it is showing that there is good that can be done with these kind of weapons. Or, again, use it to represent guns, specifically. Guns can do a lot of good, as I mentioned. They can be self-protection. They can be hunting in order to gather food for yourself, your family, and others. And much more. True. But there is always going to be bad that can be done with them. Guns do horrible things in our modern society. I'm sure you've heard of all the school shootings that constantly happen. There have been as many mass shootings in America this year, pretty much as there's been days this year. And that's insane. That's horrifying. And it shows that there is just as much evil, if not more, out there involving these weapons. But you have to have the balance. You have to have both. You have to show that both good and evil are possible. And I'm really glad that this show's doing that. It's showing that people like Hero will exist. These sociopaths who don't understand that what they're doing is wrong and don't see it as evil. They just see it as something they're basically entitled to do. They're given this power, this sense of superiority over others because of what they have available to them that others don't. And they view it as like, oh, others are beneath them because of that, and their lives don't mean anything. And it's completely sociopathic, especially to this degree. I'm not by any means defending this. But you also have someone like Inuyashiki who is using this not to necessarily even hurt others, but to protect people from others who are doing harm. The guy in the park, the homeless dude. The businessman who was being attacked. And so on and so forth. And he can even use these powers to heal. Like he healed the mother cat after she got hit by a car. And we've even seen Hiro use the healing powers on his friend. I mean, it was a paper cut. It's not that big a deal. But it still shows that even someone like him has some good to him. And I like that it's showing that he's not, like, 100% evil. Like, even the most evil people, again, especially sociopaths like him, think that they're doing something that's right, or that's okay to do. A lot of these sociopaths and psychopaths in history have thought that they were on the side of good. Evil people don't usually acknowledge that they're evil. No. You think Hitler or Stalin or Mussolini, you think any of them thought that they were evil? No, they thought they were on the right side. They thought they were the good guys. Same with Kim Jong-un. All of these people, Putin, Trump, they think they're the good guys. They think that what they're doing is right and good for everybody. They're wrong. They're completely wrong, but this is what they're thinking. And so you have to realize that. In the case of Hiro, I don't think he thinks that what he's doing is right or good for humanity necessarily. I think what his view of it is that he thinks it's okay to do. That it's not something that's wrong. And because it's not wrong, he has every right to do it. I think that's what his mindset is. But I really love what this is doing with the show and with its moral compass. The morality is the huge aspect of this show. And I really want them to delve deeper into that, and I really think they will. The art and animation, the voice acting, all of that is amazing. All of it's amazing, but the moral aspect to the story is where it truly shines, I feel. The characterizations of both our hero and villain. And, yes, even the absolute gruesomeness of the murders. The horrifying aspects of it. That's great, too. Just, really, this series is proving to be outright fantastic. And I could definitely see it being in my favorite anime of all time. If it continues to be like this, or even better. But I've talked for long enough about this and all. I do apologize for getting this so late. I was going to get it earlier, but again, the power went out for 4 freaking hours. You have no idea how boring it is to just lay there. I did get some rest. I did actually fall asleep, but a lot of the time I was laying there just doing nothing. Either way, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we will begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Shit. You've seen me get really, really emotional during reactions before. You've seen me straight up cry during reactions before. If you've been around watching my content for a long time, you might remember the Doki Doki Literature Club incident last year, where I had a emotional breakdown on camera. Where I had to, leave the room to go throw up, legitimately throw up, and I couldn't even continue streaming much after that, because I was just so emotionally distraught. You might remember, if you've been here even longer, my reactions to RWBY Volume 3. Especially with the final episode, where I, once again, had a bit of a breakdown at what happened. I was able to finish reacting to it, but still. So you've seen me get really emotional. This was different. This wasn't just being sad or distraught or anything. During the course of this episode, I felt fear. Legitimate fear for these characters. Fumino and Satoru. Or Satoru. Whatever. They were introduced this episode. Just some random people being harassed by these Yakuza. Fumino, just this ordinary girl, kidnapped on her way home from work, drugged, stripped, and possibly raped by this horrifying giant of a man who we saw rape this dude in a steam room. Just because he wouldn't move. Satoru, this just ordinary average businessman who had these dreams and hopes of marrying the girl he loves. Something he discussed with her and she agreed to and she wanted. They even were discussing kids. He's almost killed, murdered by this man for no real reason. These two characters don't have much to them. We can assume that they like comic books, based on the conversations Fumino was having with him on the phone. The dude, Satoru, he's an ordinary, everyday businessman. Apparently his salary's not that great, I guess. Apparently it's kind of just average. And he's not, like, necessarily good-looking, as was made plainly clear. She has an ordinary job as well. I mean, you could say she's very pretty. But she's nothing like, she's not like this big, spectacular person. They're two very ordinary people. Who, for no real reason, are just being tortured and terrorized by these Yakuza. And in the course of not even half of the episode, not even half of the episode's length, you care about them. Because the show sets them up so well as being these good, genuine, loving people that you just can't help but get behind. That you just can't help but see as these really awesome people that you care about. And you don't want anything bad to happen to them. You've probably heard of the little joke in the anime community that just goes around a lot. You hear it all the time. It's like, okay, there's this character that's particularly beloved by the fans, right? And they'll smile during an episode. And the fans will post all over pictures of that smile with, "We must protect this smile." That kind of thing. Like, this smile must be protected. And it's not talking about the smile itself. It's talking about the character. It's talking about this character. Most of the time, a girl is so innocent, so pure, so lovable that they must be protected. Because you want to see them able to smile like that. To feel that joy. That is what I felt during this episode. I felt a desire for Satoru and Fumino to be protected. And every time it showed these horrible actions being done to them, it legitimately scared me. When it showed Satoru being choked by this Yakuza boss, I can't even think of his name right now. I don't really care. But when it showed him being choked out by this guy, my heart was going fast. I was legitimately terrified. I did not want this nice, innocent, loving man to be to have his life cut short, especially in front of his girlfriend. When it showed multiple times in this episode, this innocent girl laying naked in this dude's bed, drugged up, having been drugged up, and basically on the verge of being raped. I was mortified, I was horrified, I was terrified that something was going to be happening to her. Especially when it already showed this girl had apparently OD'd in this guy's room. It was... You saw there was a point in there where I was like losing my ability to speak. I was that scared for these characters. And that's amazing. That in the course of not even 10 minutes of this episode, not even the first full 10 minutes, I cared that much about these characters that I was on the verge of bawling. Like, I was doing everything I could to keep it in, to keep myself from crying. Because I was just that scared for them. And when Inuyashiki showed up, I was excited. And when he fell, I was scared again, and it kept going through those emotions. This series is doing a phenomenal job of this, of giving us these emotions and really making us feel for these characters. And this episode didn't even involve Hiro, but it still showed the evil that man can do even without those kind of powers. But I need to calm down right now. My heart's still pumping really fast, so tell me what you thought of this episode of Inuyashiki in the comments below. How did it make you feel? Did it make you as scared, and did it make you have such intense feelings towards these characters as well? Tell me your thoughts on all of that and more in the comments below, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles, shed tears along the way, you're still standing, live, love, laugh.